Welcome to a walk in the park with animal friends for our Joii Christmas special. Hi. So we've got Sam and Nat back with us from Joii. So everybody should know you by now, but Sam, do you want to just do a quick intro?
Yeah, of course, just in case anyone hasn't met us before. Hi, I am Sam Webster and I'm the Director of Clinical Operations at Joii Pet Care, the pet care app that is trying to provide affordable and accessible care to every pet parent on the planet. And we do that in many ways through our app. The first is with our symptom checker, where for any problem from eating a mince pie to slipping on the ice when you're walking your dog this winter, you can answer a few questions and we will tell you how you need to fix that problem.
Yeah, and that's your dog slipping on the ice.
They probably
or your
type
cat
on the screen. Yeah, definitely. We also have incredible nursing clinics, which are completely free, as is our symptom checker, to advise you on everything from lifestyle to diet for your pet. And we have 24/7 access to remote video consultations from the comfort of your own sofa. And for Animal Friends insurance customers, those are completely free.
Lovely, thanks Sam. And Nat, do you want to do a quick intro?
Yes, so what Sam said. Plus, my name is Nat and I am a certificated clinical animal behaviourist and I work for Joii. So if you need any training or behaviour tips, then come through to one of those lovely nurse calls and ask to book an appointment with me, Nat, or Liz, who does our wellbeing calls as well. So we'll be able to help with some of the festive queries that I think you have for us today as well.
I have indeed. So let's get cracking. Right, I think most important question, Team Santa or Team Scrooge?
Team Santa.
That's good. Right, so we're all on the same level for this podcast. So
Yeah,
we
love
should be in a great space. We love Christmas. Right, so Sam, in your house, when do you start getting in the festive spirit?
1st of December is when the decorations go up.
Okay.
That's it. I like to get my Christmas tunes on and my decorations up in December as early as I can, but not before.
Not before the 1st of December. What about you, Nat?
Yeah, definitely not before. One of my friends, she starts in October. That's full on.
Halloween's done.
Yeah.
Christmas decorations come out.
Yeah. So I'm more of a December girl. And then there will be a different Christmas movie every day.
Yeah.
The jigsaws come out. I basically go into some kind of internal well-being hibernation with wine and jigsaws and films.
Perfect.
That sounds lovely, actually. Yeah. I'm generally a pre-December because I get very excited around Christmas. Not October, I wouldn't go that far. You've at least got to get through fireworks and most of November before I then go, right, let's crack on. It's time to celebrate. But as soon as Christmas is done, that's the decorations gone for me.
All down.
Yeah, so before New Year's, they're even gone because I'm like, right, Christmas is done. Let's clear it and start the new year fresh.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Christmas Eve is my favourite. It's all to come, and then I get a bit, done now.
But yeah, it's done. It's over.
I'm going to be the odd one out here. I keep them into January. It is my birthday in early January, so I like to keep the festive spirit going until that's over, make it one big holiday. And then once, I've had a day celebrating me, then we can get back on with our lives.
Well, I think that's fair, Sam. I think that's absolutely fair. So on a little bit more of a serious note from a Christmas perspective, with festive season typically comes quite a lot of toxic ingestion.
Indeed.
So can you explain a little bit more about what toxic ingestion is, Sam, and what are the key things at Christmas we find that causes it?
Yeah, of course. In really simple terms, things your pets have eaten that they shouldn't have eaten. That is it. And let's face it, they all do it.
Yeah.
Cats, dogs, people over Christmas, we all know we eat things we shouldn't.
Yeah, or drink them.
And actually, exactly. And actually, it's a lot of those things that we like to indulge in over Christmas that are particularly toxic and harmful to our pets. So we see massive spikes in calls over the Christmas period for two things. The first is mince pies or anything containing a raisin.
Okay.
They are really potentially quite toxic to your pets. And I say potentially because the actual ingredient in the raisin, or a grapes as well, that causes problems for pets isn't known yet. So some dogs can eat a whole bunch and be fine before they see any symptoms. Others, it just takes one. So don't take the risks. Keep mince pies on a nice high shelf.
Yeah.
And the other one is one of our favourites. It's chocolate. And we all love to indulge in chocolate over Christmas. It's not Christmas if there isn't a selection box under that tree. But don't let your pet get into it. Chocolate is actually toxic to people if you eat enough of it. Now, actually, to reach toxic levels, you'd have to eat more than your stomach could possibly manage.
In one go?
Worry. Yes, do not worry.
Okay, all right. Whew.
Challenge
no one's going to hurt
accepted.
it. Wouldn't recommend it, Nat, but it is an ingredient in chocolate that actually our pets are more susceptible to than we are. So, yeah. Keep them away from that.
And do you typically see it from like selection boxes, or how many of it is it the Christmas decorations, the chocolate decorations that people put on trees?
Selection boxes, big boxes of Quality Street and celebrations, things like that.
Left on the table,
exactly. And once the dog's in there, wrappers and all that whole box is gone. You do see those kind of chocolate decorations on the tree. It doesn't seem to be as common these days that people decorate their trees with edible items, and I suppose that's to our pets' benefit.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, definitely all walks of life. Occasionally, it'll be that odd Easter egg that's managed to hide in the back of the cupboard till this time of year. Made its way out.
Because typically, from a claim perspective, we'll see peaks for Christmas, New Year. I'm sure there's other times of year that you'll see. Yeah, Easter, just from the chocolate piece. We touched on mince pies for dogs, but what about cats? Are they toxic to cats as well?
Both of the raisins, the mince pies and the chocolate, toxic to both dogs and cats, so keep them away from all of your pets. The other thing that's maybe not toxic but isn't good for your pet is all the nice rich fatty meats we like to eat at Christmas. So turkey's not so bad, but thinking about your hams, your sausages, if you're making stuffing with your meats, things like that, really rich. And actually, they'd upset our tummy if we ate too much. Yeah. The volume needed to upset a cat's tummy or a dog's tummy is much lower. So would not recommend those either. Can result in something as simple as a little bit of vomiting or diarrhea, can result in pancreatitis, which is a very painful thing for your pet to get better from.
Yeah, absolutely. So just on talking on that subject, if you were thinking about doing them as a special little Christmas dinner, what are the kinds of things that are safe for, let's talk dogs first and then we can see how that differs for cats.
Yeah, of course. So your turkey, it's a nice lean meat. As long as you're not feeding your pet any bones with that, because cooked bones are another potential problem all on their own, then turkey is great. I would avoid your stuffing or your sausages or pigs in blankets, the best bit of any Christmas dinner, not for your pets. And I would not generally recommend gravy unless you're really low on sodium and salt in there, because again, very salty can cause problems. Yeah. Your veggies though, that are on that roast dinner, perfect for your pets. So your carrots, Brussels sprouts, love them or hate them, pets generally.
Is that going to make them windy though if you give them Brussels sprouts?
I think the same way it does for some of your family members. It can act that way.
So at your peril, okay.
So with a risk disclaimer. What we said: carrots, peas, your Brussels sprouts, your roast potatoes and mashed potatoes. All of those, providing you haven't overseasoned them before you give them to your pet, perfect.
So salt is a key thing to look out for then.
Yeah, salts, fats. And then your toxic items, which we've already ruled out.
And then is there anything in what you've just talked about there that you wouldn't be able to then have for a cat?
Everything I've said there, you could give to your cat. Chances are they're going to eat the turkey and leave the rest. Okay. Cats tend to love their meat more than anything because they are obligate carnivores. They have to eat it. Yeah. Some of them will love a good, veggie roast as well. It's going to depend on the individual.
Fab, thank you. And then, Nat, when you're talking about storing and hiding away these how do you keep your pets safe from some of these things that we know can be really harmful for them?
Yeah, I think dog proofing or cat proofing as best you can with other items anyway. At Christmas there's more stuff around, isn't there? So there's more of a risk of them ingesting something or getting tangled in something. We've talked already about toxicity, but tinsel, lights, fairy lights, all sorts of things, we don't really want to think about what could happen to our cats and puppies if they're getting caught up. So I think just being sensible about it, really. So in my house we have a little tree that we have on the dining table, so any presents go on there so they're up and out of the way. Big Christmas storage box for all your snacks if you can't fit them in the cupboards. Limit access to rooms where your dog might go scavenging. If you know your dog or cat is a scavenger, then just make that extra bit of effort and use, higher cupboards or a room upstairs under your bed,
locked away.
Somewhere where you can keep those things that no one wants to end up at the vet at Christmas, even the vets. No. So so it's much better to just be a bit sensible, err on the side of caution.
Yeah. Oh, go on, Sam, you're going to add something.
Talking about scavenging, bin raiding is one of the worst things at Christmas. They find all the things that we don't want to eat, and they definitely shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you can't put your bin in a kitchen cupboard or in another room with the door closed, then what I've done in the past, I used to have a dog who would knock the bin over.
Clever.
Go raiding. So you can try different tops or pedal bins or whatever suits and give that a try. Otherwise, I bought an oversized bin. I weighed it down in the bottom with a hook, and then I used it. So he couldn't get up to the top of it, and he couldn't knock it over. So be a bit creative about how you make sure they can't access those rats.
And a great point there, because bin raiding is full of lovely treasures for a dog, right?
Exactly. All the fatty leftover bits.
Yeah, and you don't always know what it is if you can't remember what you have thrown away.
Yeah.
So then if you come home and they've gone through the bin, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, what have they had?
Yeah, so certainly in my house, if I've got things that are going to be dangerous but also interesting to the dogs, like if I've bought a bit of chicken and for the dogs, and I've put the bones in the bin, I'll chuck that straight out in the wheelie bin.
Yeah.
Good point. And then it's not a risk.
Yeah.
It's not even in the house.
It's gone and it's done, and absolutely. So Nat, you touched on earlier lights and tinsel. I know when I was a kid, before I was allergic to cats, we had cats at home, and luckily it was during a night time, but they chewed through the wire.
Okay.
So how do you help keep your pets safe from the tree, from the tinsel, from the lights? What are the kind of things that you can do to deter them from trying to climb or even pee up the tree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it depends on the individual and what they're going to do, and what you're willing to do, really. Some people have gone to the lengths of putting their tree upside down, bolting into the ceiling. That. Some people have put their tree...
It wasn't in Australia, was it?
Some have put them in a crate, put a fire guard round it, had it on a dining room table like I do. Whatever's going to work. But I think the key thing for new kittens and puppies, maybe at Christmas, if this is their first experience, take them out for a walk when you're decorating the tree.
Yeah.
Because it's the movement and the glistening lights and the ooh that's probably going to get their interest.
Yep.
And then the tree is a thing.
Okay.
If it's just there, already made, there's nothing moving on it, it's less likely to be something of interest. So I think set yourself up to succeed and don't, because let's face it, if you were decorating your tree and your little puppy was running around with some tinsel, I mean, how cute.
Yeah, you're going to be all over that, right?
You take photos, and then 3 weeks down the line, you're like, blooming dog keeps pulling the tree down.
Yeah.
So what's funny in a moment can turn into a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
So
and then a repeated issue every year.
Exactly. So yeah, I think keep it simple. Add things in gradually. If you're someone that really wants to go all out, maybe that's in a room that the dog or cat doesn't spend as much time in. Think about having a year off and doing slightly different decorations in your house. So maybe you do stuff that's higher off the ground, presents stay in a basket that's somewhere, rather than being around the tree. I think it's just preparing for what might happen, which is tangling, ingestion, peeing, and preparing for that, really, to try and manage and mitigate for it.
Yeah. And is there anything, you touched on the whole presence under the tree, is there anything that you can do to help deter dogs or cats from snooping around in them? I mean, you've said about enclosing them is one great way. Is there any other top tips that you've got?
Yeah, I mean, I just go for management, to be honest. I don't spend my Christmas holiday saying, get off that, move away from there, leave that alone. What's the dog got? Why is the cat wearing Nanny's scarf? I
wondered where we were going with that one, but Nanny's scarf is safe.
So I think they are going to be a temptation. They're a new novel item there. Also, if you are lucky enough to get lots of gifts, you don't know what they are.
Yes.
It could be dangerous. Much better for them to be safe and out of the way.
Yeah.
I think if there is anything you know is for your pets that might smell particularly enticing, those go out of the way and only come out on Christmas Day. If you do want your pet to get involved with opening the boxes. And I think an empty box away is always a good distraction for a cat. They like
Nice.
things they can get in.
They do, don't they? Like, you don't actually need to get expensive toys for dogs and cats, do you?
They're just like kids. The boxes are more...
way more fun. So if you're thinking of throwing a festive party, what are the kind of things that you really need to take into account for your dog or cat? Nat, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think this is probably the biggest thing. I mean, apart from toxicity and all the foods and being careful. The biggest thing for me is the change in social lives that we have around Christmas. And maybe our dogs and cats won't be used to that. So I think, and there's very little that you can do in such a short space of time. So I actually close my books in December because there are lots of people that will contact me wanting a consult for their dog that bites visitors to the home because they're having family to come and stay.
And it's like, not an instant fix, right?
No, that's something we should be working on in February, March, April. So if you have got a little bit of time and you're thinking of having a party, I think the key things are be realistic. You know, your dog or cat is not likely to want to be around lots of loud, drunk people. There might be foods around. You want to have a good time. You know, you want to relax. You don't want to be keeping an eye on them. So think about, can someone look after them? Can they go elsewhere? Is there a room upstairs that isn't in a thoroughfare and won't be disturbed that you can prepare them in advance to be happy and settled in? So that you can, you know, put all their resources in there, leave some music on, shut the door. Job's a good one. Make sure they've had if they're a dog, nice walk beforehand, they're nice and tired. I think it's just keeping things quiet and constant. Most of the bite incidents, this is dogs mainly, but applies to cats as well. Most of the bite incidents that I have to deal with after the festive period is because people have had one too many and said, oh, their dog will be fine, and let them down, and, you know, it hasn't gone well. So I think, as a general rule, parties and dogs and cats probably don't mix very well.
I think it's really easy for us to put that kind of human perspective on them and say, well, I want to get involved, they will too. We've made a conscious decision to be social, they haven't, they like routine. So you touched a lot on kind of safe spaces, havens, a room or a crate or whatever that is for your pet. I think try and think about that before we get to Christmas if you can, at least a couple of weeks. We have an excellent nursing team at Joii who would be happy to give you some advice on how you can make that safe space. And if you do have a pet that you know has a problem, book in to speak to Nat. If they have a behavioural concern like separation anxiety, like social stress, talk to an expert.
So we touched on boxes and presents. Obviously, dogs and cats love the boxes. But what are the key things, Sam, that you need to think about from a Christmas present perspective if you're going to get something for your dog or your cat? Like one of the things that I've read, and I don't know whether it's true, but rawhide, is that good for a dog or is it not good for a dog?
Yeah, I mean, rawhide's been around for years, and in itself it's not a bad product, but I think it's a bit like feeding your pet McDonald's constantly. It's okay in moderation. I will say that there is a range of rawhides on the market. You get everything from the cheap kind of brightly dyed stuff, which probably has your E numbers. I wouldn't feed it to my kids. I wouldn't necessarily advise feeding it to my pets. To kind of better quality treats and things like that. So read a package. Try and educate yourself on what it is you're buying when it comes to treats. Food for pets is a nightmare. Diets are a nightmare, treats are worse. There's so many things on the market. Get advice from a vet or a nurse or a behaviourist, depending on what your pet needs. For someone who's a really kind of chewing dog who likes, you know, to have something to get their teeth into and that keeps them well motivated, rawhide is where we might have gone 10 years ago, but we know there's better things on the market. A stuffed toy with treats in it that they can try and puzzle out, a snuffly mat. There's puzzles that you can set on different difficulties for your pets these days.
And that goes back to the mental stimulation piece again,
Again, if you've got all the family round, having a bit of a dance and a drink, giving your pet something that will keep them occupied for a while is a great idea. So just be careful with your choices. particularly if you do have a pet who's prone to an upset tummy, you're better not going rich at Christmas. You're better just sticking with what they know. And actually, for a pet, we've already said the cardboard box is often more exciting than what's inside it.
It doesn't have to be expensive, right?
That's it. It's the shiny wrapping paper. It's the getting involved in something new. So play to your pet's needs and their pet's strengths. For cats, make sure they're good toys that really engage them more than necessarily loads of treats. Cat wands so they can chase something around. Toys big enough for them to have a good kick and practice their normal behaviour when they're pouncing on it. And for dogs, I think the one key thing I would say, more about toys than treats, is a dog should never be able to fit a whole toy in their mouth. So tennis balls is a specific one that I would not give a tennis ball to anything bigger than a chihuahua. Because once they're wedged in the mouth, they can't breathe around them and it's a nightmare. Big toys, too big to chew, and with a breathing hole through it if you can, so that when they get a bit excited at Christmas with their new toy and things get wedged in the jaws, your trip to a vet isn't an emergency.
Okay. And that's some great tips there, right? Making sure that we're keeping them safe, because nobody wants to end up in an emergency room for your pet at any point, let alone trying to get in over Christmas as well.
We vets want our Christmas dinner as well, guys. We'd rather you didn't come in.
No, absolutely. So, Nat, if it's your pet's first Christmas, how do you prepare them for that kind of excitement, the smells, the changes, the magic? I love that, Sam. How do you prepare them to be able to cope with that? Because in certain circumstances, that must be quite overwhelming because of all the stimulus.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I've done my share of hosting Christmas. And having the excuse to take the dog for a walk is a brilliant one.
It is.
Didn't really go for a walk, just sat in the driveway.
Getting away from the mother-in-law. You're just like, I'm off.
My mother-in-law is lovely, but it's just that the amount
just in case she's watching.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Mary. I think first Christmas, take it easy. It's a lot. Plus, most people are lucky enough to have some time off over Christmas. That might be the time that your dog or cat, or the first time that they've spent that amount of prolonged time with all of you as a family. And even that just on its own will be a big enough change for them to maybe get overtired, be overstimulated, all the new smells. It's like when we talked about fireworks in a previous episode, it's that sensory overload. It's not just the visual, it's not just the audible, it's the smells, everything.
It's a full assault on my senses, let alone being a new puppy or a kitten to the world.
Exactly. So I think, as Sam said earlier, safe havens are, even more imperative during festive times. Every dog or cat should have at least one, I would say at least two actually, or more safe spaces that are just theirs and that they have access to at all times.
Great.
Bearing in mind with cats, that safe place might be the dining room chair that you never normally eat at because you have dinner on your lap. And suddenly everyone's, hang on, why is everyone sat around my table? Where's my chair? So I think being mindful of those kind of things, because the safer they feel and the more able they are to take themselves off, they're going to be able to rest fully and hopefully regulate their emotions, really, which is what it's all about.
Access to outside as well, particularly for cats who go out. Make sure those safe havens aren't going to keep them locked in a room where they can't get out and go and do their business.
Okay.
If they're stressed, they're going to need to go to the toilet.
And if that's a bedroom, you definitely do not want that all over your bedroom.
You do not. So make sure they have access to
that'll ruin your Christmas quickly, won't it?
Same for dogs, though. Don't forget to make sure they're going out for toilet breaks if they are deciding they want to go and hide upstairs under the bed in a quiet spot. Take 5 minutes. Take that breath and make sure they get what they need.
Lovely.
And maybe on a lead, even if you don't usually. You've got a house full of people and it freaks your dog out and they spook and someone's left the front door open. All these things. It's very different when you've got other people in your house. It's going to be different rules. So again, I would always sneak off, put my dogs on the lead. We go for a nice quiet toilet break, pop them back because you don't want people, I'll come and help, I'll come too.
Yeah. You're like, actually, I just need a break as well. This is my time. I just need to decompress a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. So just to wrap up this Joy Christmas special episode, if there was one piece of advice from both of you, so one each, you don't have to have the same, what is it that you want listeners to take away about just to really keep front of mind over Christmas for your pets?
The number one piece of advice from me would be keep your chocolate and your other toxic hazards locked away. Your pets don't need to eat human food. Buy them pet safe treats.
Lovely. Thanks, Sam. What about you, Nat?
They don't know what Christmas is.
Okay.
They just know that things are different.
Yeah.
So give them a break and, make sure they have some kind of safe haven and some of their normal routines are maintained.
And just enjoy it.
Yeah. Happy Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. And a Merry Christmas to you guys at Joy. I know you'll be available 24/7 over Christmas if anyone is concerned. Joy vets are available. But Merry Christmas to you all, and thank you for coming on our Joy Christmas special with a walk in the park with animal friends. And I just want to say thank you to all of our guests for season 2. Wow, what a season we have had. We will be back in full swing next year with season 3 in 2024. But again, thank you from the Joy team again coming and joining us. It's been fabulous to have you, and I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year. Thank you to all of our listeners. You can find out news about our podcast on our Instagram or TikTok handles, which is at Animal Friends Insurance, or on our Facebook page at Animal Friends Pet Insurance.